up there in the YouTubeverse? It's Max. I am back with you again because we did pretty well last time we drafted, and I figured we would go ahead and run back another Core Set 2021 draft. So let's kick this particular pig and wait for a queue to load up. I found so far doing some quick drafts that I kind of just like doing the people drafts a little bit better. The premier drafts, they are more expensive without a doubt, but I think you get more consistent decks when you're playing with human opponents, well, human draft pod, and I think you can do a little bit better. Okay, so there's a Sanctum of Stonefangs, which is really kind of the best Sanctum. There's also a Karavek the Spiteful, who's quite good. I think that's really good. Llanowar Visionary is in this pack. Daybreak Charger also in this pack. Roman Ghostlight, Swift Response. This is a very stacked pack. I like the Dryad. I like the Dowser. Like, there's a lot to like in this pack. Good news is, it's going to put people in a lot of different colors. So there's our friend Gimbal. Making the video early this time, Gimbal. I like the Sanctum of Stonefangs, probably the best. Karavek may put somebody on black, but it's a tough black commitment, and the next best black card is Crypt Lurker, and I don't think it's that good. So I think the Sanctum has enough upside that we should take it. My next pick would probably be the Dowser or the Visionary, I would say. They're all quite good. Garruk's Uprising is very good. Battle Rattle Shaman is very good. Neither go particularly well with the Sanctum of Stonefangs that we picked up first, and there's no good black card worth first picking. Sorry, Cage Zombie. So we have to really think this through. Black-red's pretty good. Black-green also pretty good. There's a lot of 4-power creatures in green, and I'm not opposed to running it that way. I'm also not opposed to just dropping the Sanctum of Stonefangs and trying the Garruk's Uprising. Now, I do feel like this is going to get shipped to the person who's going to take the Llanowar Visionary, and there's no green card that's going to wheel out of this pack. There's no black card that's coming back. We're, like, aiming for Forgotten Sentinel if we take Garruk's Uprising. It's not too bad. Otherwise, we're on, like, Daybreak, maybe Battle Rattle, one of those two. Rousing Reed, also very good. We could take the Rousing Reed and try to get into blue-black, more of a controlling style of deck. I don't hate that, and try to win over time. Let's spec on the Rousing Reed, because that's very different from the last draft we took, and I think a very reasonable line. So we end up here with a Library Larcenist, which I think is quite good. A Fetid Imp, which I also think is quite good. Sky Scanner, I'm fine with. Another Battle Rattle Shaman, man, that's awesome. Archfiend's Vessel, not the best thing in the world. It makes a 5/5 demon if you spend 5 mana in the limited to get it back. I'm kind of aiming towards the Library Larcenist here. It's not necessarily the greatest card in the pack, but I also really like the Fetid Imp, and everybody knows how I feel about 2-drops in this format. But black's not very good in this pack, neither is blue, but if I completely cut blue from this pack, there is some value there to solidify that, hey, blue's not coming through anymore. So I think there is some value there in that. Fantastic. So we get rewarded with, funny we get the Rise Again right after we would have gotten the Vessel. A Jeskai Elder, very good in these kind of decks. We're just trying to beat down, not super hard, but we want to beat down. We want to try to get some removal if we can out of black. There's a Shock in this pack, which is a pretty big sign for red. Feels bad. Somebody's going to have a nasty deck with 2 Battle Rattles and a Shock in it so far. That feels pretty gross. Blood Glutton in this pack for black. Wishcoin Crab for blue. I don't hate the Crab. I don't hate the Blood Glutton because of lifelink. I do hate the Glutton because it is Scorching Dragon fireable, and I think that kind of sucks. Wishcoin Crab, I think, is a very good blocker and does some good work on the ground, so it probably will end up being our pickup. Again, further solidifying that blue is not coming through. Hopefully we can knock somebody off that color down the lane here. Black looks pretty choked. We may have to give up our Sanctum of Stonefangs unless like a late Sanctum comes through. There's a Canopy Stalker, which is quite good in green. I don't hate throwing a Rousing Reed on a card like that, having a 4/2 flyer on swinging on turn 5. I don't hate the Frantic Inventory pick to try to spec on that. we're trying to draw cards that could easily put us into the Teferi's Tutelage deck. I think I like it a little bit more than the Protege. I like the Protege a lot, but I think it's easier to pick up. So I'm going to just spec on the inventory. Silent Dart also could make this deck, as opposed to shifting colors. I just want to keep further solidifying that blue is not an option here. So we have Red Sanctum, which doesn't necessarily go with what we're doing in the world of blue. So I'll probably pass on that, unfortunately. I just don't see the base. If it was green, I'd spec on it maybe and try to switch a little bit into green and go maybe green-blue with green supporting some other colors. There's another Jeskai Elder, which I don't hate. There's a Mistral Singer, which I do not hate. I think I'm just going to take the Jeskai Elder here. Again, 2-drops, just super valuable. Here's a Keen Glidemaster. I'm surprised to see a Falcon or Adept this late. It combos very nicely with the Rousing Reed. It might be worth coming off blue, but I still feel like just cementing the blue is not open is a high enough upside for us. Here's a Thornwood Falls, also a Swift Response in this pack, which is quite good if we're going to go blue, maybe with a white splash. There's the Crypt Lurker we talked about. Thornwood Falls would let us potentially splash green in this deck. It's not like a high priority for me per se. I'd much rather see the blue-black tap land. I think I'm just gonna spec on the Swift Response here. It's not so great, but it's not bad either. Here's pretty easy Daybreak Charger for us. Nobody respecting the Charger. What? A Battle Rattle Shaman Wield? Wow, that is genuinely surprising. This card, I think, is very above rate. I'm happy to take it and try to maybe grab some evasive creatures. We already have some. And see if we can make that work. That is interesting. Pegasus here looks like a pickup over the Windscarred Crag for us. That is genuinely surprising. And you can see we're just feeling like these are all cards I wouldn't even say no to Revitalize, especially if we pick up. Like, look at that. Like, we just cleaned up white, and it's easy for us. I think we're going to end up moving into blue-white now. There's a Frantic Inventory number 2. I don't want to lean that hard on that card. The Singer's not bad, though. I'm wondering... Let's Frantic Inventory. We'll try to do something a little bit more interesting. And I say interesting, not that I don't, like, I would be happily take Magmuts all day long. I would love this Kite Sail Freebooter. I mean, we could spec on that and see if we can get black from this direction and try to fill out black. But I feel like we're pretty, not super heavily ensconced in white, but we definitely have a couple good white picks already. So we'll take the Frantic Inventory and see if we can make use of it. Frost Breath here, another Library Larcenist along with Flash Bear and a Siege Striker. There's a Steed here as well. These are all pretty good. The Siege Striker's not bad in this deck because you can use something like the Glidemaster or the Rousing Reed to give it flying, and if it's your only attacker, it can do some real work. Library Larcenist number 2 I don't hate. We have so far just the one Rousing Reed. We could Frost Breath, but I mean, we are like a ton of 2-drops, but like one of our 2-drops is Revitalize, for example, and a Swift Response, Frantic Inventory. So right now we're trying to find our footing and trying to figure out how we can win the game. We're really hoping, like, the card we're obviously looking for most is the Tutelage. I think we'll take the Frost Bear over the second, or the Flash Bear over the first Larcenist. Frost Breath, Flash Bear, words. It's a Scorching Dragonfire in this pack, which is very tempting. So we just have Battle Rattle. One thing we're definitely lacking on is, like, premium removal. Blue-white in this format tends to struggle with that, because Capture Sphere is the common piece of blue removal, which is fine, it's just expensive. And if you watch our live stream, you know I'm not a big fan of these kind of curvy style decks playing very expensive removal if I can help it. There's an opt in here if we want to go full ham on trying to get a Tutelage. There's also a Temple of Silence, which could possibly let us splash the Sanctum. I doubt it will. We'd need a blue Sanctum or something. But I think there's enough value in a Scryland. Maybe I take the opt over it. Let's take the opt, but I think there's enough value in a Scryland that I was definitely willing to consider taking it there. An unsubstantiate and a Miscast. Not a big fan of Miscast. That's more of a standard plant, I think. There is a Makeshift Battalion, a Rambunctious Mutt, and a Library Larcenist coming in at common. The Unsubstantiate's not bad. It can kind of mess things up. It's a cheap bounce spell. If you just look at it as a cheap bounce spell, it's not too bad. It can also do cool things against Gourmand, where it's just like, Sack a creature. Put that back in your hand. And that's kind of messed up stuff. Skyscanner looks like it's going to be the pickup for us. I cannot believe there's a Llanowar Visionary in this pack still. Green and white have looked pretty underdrafted, though I've seen some good black cards coming around as well. So, Rousing Reed number 2, happy to have in this deck. We're passing on the Tranquil Cove, which hurts a little bit, but that could wheel. So, I'm not saying it will, but it could. Another Celestial Enforcer, which isn't bad. We don't have a ton of flyers, but we have enough, I think, that that's not a bad pickup for us. The Mutt I don't hate because blowing up an artifact or enchantment actually is more relevant than I predicted. Read the Tides isn't bad either. It draws cards, could be our top end, and bounce creatures for us to finally get through with an attack. We also have the Unsubstantiate to do that. I think the Tapper's a little bit more valuable if we go for a slower style deck. Here we get I think we take the Mutt over the Tome Anima, though maybe the Tome Anima is good because we've set up the deck to draw so many cards that we might want that Tome Anima. Legion's Judgment also not a bad one here. I really want to see one of the big blue finishers, the Whale, the Shark, something like that. I think the 4-drop's kind of where we want to be. It keeps our mana cheap if we end up having to really go aggro tempo kind of style. And right now it's looking like we may have to, because we're just not seeing any of the big heavy hitters. Ooh, of course the Siege Striker's still in the pack with the Frostbreath. I think with double Rousing Reed, I think we want to go with the card there, the card we can give evasion to and make it better. We'll take the Battalion since we picked up a 5-drop already. Looks like this deck could be attacking, so I mean, very likely this deck will be attacking. I'm going to grab the Swiftwater over the Defiant Strike. Defiant Strike won't make my deck. Likely Swiftwater won't. But just in case there's a red card we really want to play, that leaves the door open. Third Celestial Enforcer probably will not make the main. Right now we're at 23 cards. Terror of the Peaks. Terror of the Peaks, you say. That card is very good. And there's nothing really good for us in blue-white out of this pack, which is super unfortunate. Oof. Oofa doofa. I think we're on the Singer, and that is for sad making. Oof. Yeah, I don't love that. Vryn Wingmare is not bad. Scorching Dragonfire is the kind of card I would definitely consider splashing out of red, because we don't necessarily need to play it right away. Another Library Larcenist in this deck looks pretty good. And I think that's the direction we want to go. The Wingmare can end up kind of biting us a little bit. I think I'll take this over Second Glide Master. Short Sword is fine. Dub I wouldn't really consider playing. We can certainly draw a lot of cards in this deck. We just need to figure out what the heck else we're doing. And more importantly, how the heck are we winning a game of Magic? Acolyte's very good. But I think we just need the Charger. I think at this point it looks like we're going to be low-end tempo. So I'm probably going to drop the Crab from this deck. I'd consider dropping the Steed from this deck as well. And maybe calling that a deck, because right now we're at enough playables. Though double Celestial Enforcer in this deck is not stellar. I'd like to cut one of those if possible and maybe replace it with a 2-drop. Everything else, though, is decent. We have enough ways to give evasion. We have enough other stuff. Skyscanner's a little questionable in this deck. Riddle Form's, if we're going to play this style of deck, Riddle Form is the card we're looking for. So we'll take it over Second Mistral Singer. Maybe it wheels. Maybe. I doubt it. I think the other blue drafter takes it. Another Unsubstantiate. I think we're going to take the Aven Gaggle Master. Though Feat of Resistance is super tempting. Though the Unsubstantiate kind of plays a bit of a similar role, because we could bounce one of our own creatures. Just a spell or a creature. Doesn't have to be opponents. So that's kind of nice. The Gaggle Master is quite good in this deck because it could bring us back from the brink. We have a few flyers that are pretty good. Another Daybreak doesn't hurt. Getting down pressure early is always nice. The Feat feels like the best card for us, I think. I think at this point we're probably dropping our Frantic Inventories. Another Jeskai Elder might be the play here. It might just be Capture Sphere and make that our top end. So we move out the Frantic Inventories. Oof. Kind of have our pick of the litter here. Another Riddle Form. Another Feat. Daybreak Charger. I'm just going to take the Daybreak Charger and keep it simple. Though we could take the Tranquil Cove. We have a lot of playables. Though I'd like to take out the Tome Anima if I can here and kind of try to play this. Maybe the Steed comes out as well. Jeez. Okay, we'll take a Selfless Savior. I'm not opposed to that. Op probably isn't going to make the cut here in this particular style of deck. Makeshift Battalion might be better than drop a Celestial Force, or may consider dropping 2. Glide Master I don't hate. Bastard's Acolyte Wield, that like never happens. Just take a Radiant Fountain, I guess. Make sure I have 4 for Pauper. Wow, Daybreak Charger Wield. Okay, I'll take a full set of Daybreak Chargers, I guess. Worded Battlements I don't hate, but it's not really for us. And a last pick Pegasus, which with 4 Chargers look a little bit better. Okay, now we got to build it. So Bastard's Acolyte, late edition that may stay. Maybe we drop the Enforcer. We're kind of glutted on 3s. May have to drop a Sky Scanner here. Let's take a look at our 2s as well. I kind of like a lot of our 2s. I even don't mind the Concordia Pegasus when we're rocking 4 Daybreak Chargers that make those into 3 power flyers. 3/3 flyer on swinging on the 3rd turn seems pretty gross to me. Capture Sphere I think makes it because we just need the removal spell. Let's take a look at our creature count. 21 creatures. We can definitely shave some creatures here. Might have to drop a Concordia Pegasus. I think Concordia Pegasus can go. I think a Larcenist, 1 Larcenist is probably enough. Even with our double Rousing Read, we have other kind of premium Rousing Read targets that we don't necessarily need that. Jeskai Elder looking a little shabby with 7 non-creature spells. So maybe we drop one of those. It looks to be our weakest 2-drop. It's just a 1/2. So I think we drop one of those. And so a lot of our non-creature spells we don't necessarily want to cast on. Like the one we want to cast on our turn is Rousing Read. The rest we probably cast in response to opponent doing things. So Jeskai Elder not looking at his best in this style of deck. I'm pretty happy with a lot of how this looks for the most part. Looks like it's capable of some pretty significant beatdowns. Looks like we can evasive move around things a little bit. I would have liked to pick up a Frost Breath. We just didn't really see any outside of the 1 pack that was doubled up, and maybe I should have gone with the Frost Breath there. Of course, let me know in the comments what you think. It's hard to say where we go. Could be a land. I think that's what we're going to do. I tend to do this more in the Boros style decks, but I think we just chop down. Probably just go with the Devil's Split, dead even, and call that a deck. See what we can do with it. It's an interesting one. I haven't drafted a deck. I've drafted some blue-white decks. Nothing quite this tempo-y, more flyer-based. And we just don't have any get-there power. So I don't know how far we'll get in this. We need some good draws. Opponent goes first, which is unfortunate, but we're on 2-drop, 3-drop, and then our 4-drop is removal to hopefully get our 3-drop through. So we'll try it. Opponent also on blue-white here. First draw being a land is rough. We don't want to see any more lands down the stretch here. Again, 16 land here. We should be set up. We'll see what opponent commits to the board first. Looks like nothing. Okay, Daybreak. Naked Charger. Kind of cool with that. We will play a Dog. If the opponent attacks, we will probably just take it and see what they follow up with here. Could be a Rousing Read. It's a dub. Okay, 5/3. Alright, this is going to make the Charger a little bit juicy of a target for our Capture Sphere. And we'll come in with a Library Larcenist. We have to watch, though, because Feat is a real card, even if the Feat doesn't happen at the time of the creature attacking. 6/3. We can double block and trade off and go 2 for 2 here. Or no, it's got first strike because of the dub. Yeah, first strike. Everybody's like, oh, no, don't do that. No blocks here. We'll go to 9. Feat, again, can come down at any time and kind of screw things up for us. So we're going to attack. Okay, very good. So I think we're just going to Capture Sphere now. They can't... They missed their untap at the minimum. And we'll see. They've invested a lot into this one card, so if they have a Feeder Resistance, it's definitely going to be played on the Daybreak to give it protection. but it's kind of all we can really do. Stormwing Entity. It's a 3/3 flying prowess. This spell costs less to cast, which obviously isn't the case here, and it's a scry. It's another problem card, to be sure. So I think we want to... I mean, we could Glide Master, hold up potential flying, but that doesn't really do much. So I think we need to Acolyte. But the problem is we only can swing Watchdog then, but I think that's got to be enough. I don't see a way down the stretch to make it any better. But 3/3 checks everything that they have. They're way ahead in the race, so they don't have to worry about it. But depends on what their follow-up is. If their cards in hand are a little anemic, we might be able to catch them. We'll see. It's going to be tough. But next turn we can double spell for sure. We're almost to the point where we can triple spell. Play another Warded Battlement, swing for 5. So that's pretty good because that turns that into a 2-turn clock for them. So now we have to consider the Glide Master and the Glide Master throwing things. However, with no follow-up other than a couple O3s, it lets us come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a Daybreak Charger targeting Basri's Acolyte. And see what they do. They can't Frost Breath us. They can Swift Response. That kind of just puts us dead to rights, I think. But we're kind of close to dead to rights anyway. So we'll see. Opponent seems like they have something based on the amount of time it's taking them to make decisions. Angelic Ascension. Okay. So they can easy block there. They take a lot of damage. So this puts us above if they don't have a non-creature spell. So I'm going to play the Siege Striker here. Because the Siege Striker can not kill them with what's in hand. So if they have any non-creature, we... Oh no, they get the Battlement Trigger. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, nothing much we can do. Our plan was definitely hoping they didn't have a trick there because they put us behind. And that's just kind of... That's how it goes sometimes, is you get put behind the 8-ball. We couldn't keep up with Charger plus Dub. I think that's a terrible play. We have so many cards that deal with that. And I mean, we saw it, right? They had the Angelic Ascension, which is cool. But, again, had we drawn our Unsubstantiate, had we drawn a Rousing Reed for our Basri's Acolyte, we would have had a pretty significant blocker in the air. And I think that would have helped turn things around. But our draws were a little soft there. That's okay. We go first on a basically entirely unkeepable hand. Riddle form with no real follow. I mean, the Rousing Reed would be nice, but we have to cast him. All right. Well, I mean, this has... If this hits, I think we probably put back the Pegasus. It's the least aggro, and this looks like a very aggressive hand. So the way we're going to win is to be able to just run out as many things as we can as quickly as we can. So we want to go, obviously, first turn Savior, second turn Watchdog, third turn if we draw a land, we consider a Battalion. Otherwise, we go Daybreak Charger, attack with a pumped-up group of folks. And that's just kind of how we're trying to run it. We want to get under this opponent as fast and as hard as we can. I think we have the creatures to do it. We have the Savior back to save us from pretty much anything. I mean, living up to his name, right? Alright, so this lets us play around a Lofty if we just play a Daybreak Charger, and I'm cool with that. It's an aggressive line. It plays around Lofty Denial, which is a card I really don't want to run my Makeshift Battalion into. Put this on a Selfless Savior. There's not really a whole lot they can do other than Unsubstantiate from here with their current mana. They have something because it's definitely delaying us. Looks like they have an Unsubstantiate. Yeah, sure. You put it back in my hand. No problem. Doesn't really deal with the problem down the road. Next turn we get to double spell at them if we wish. So it looks like they're blue-black, which means they're going to be a slower deck. We'll see. The kind of the cards we don't want to see here. We definitely don't want to see a Spark Hunter Masticore. I can tell you that's high on the list of cards you don't want to see. So this is pay mana to make it indestructible. Okay. We're going to want to, like, put in as much damage as we can. I'm going to recast the Savior. There's no point in sandbagging it. I think we just offer the attack here. And no surprise they take it. This rare is very good. And it's going to be hard for us to battle past if we can't draw something. Obviously, this only deals Planeswalkers. It's indestructible. It's pretty good in terms of if they're ahead, it's pretty good. As a defender, it's also pretty good. So we have some stuff to work past. Skyscanner quite good. Daybreak Charger, you say. So I think we Charger, we target the Watchdog. The question is, do we attack with everything at that point? I think the answer may be yes. I think we have to kind of try to clear this opponent's board. This is a lot of damage. I'll sacrifice a damage to give my Daybreak indestructible. Clears a Skyscanner, trades a 1-drop for a 3-drop. I don't hate that. The 3-drop, the card replaces itself, so you can really call it half a card. So we're kind of, I think, fairly neutral on value there. Opponent does go down to 8 with this play. Holding up Eliminate mana, which is important to note. Okay, Keen Glidemaster, quite a good draw here. I'm not going to run everything in just to get a dog hit in for 2. Or potentially a Daybreak Charger hit in for 3. I don't think that's enough to do. Where we can Glidemaster, give a Charger, a pump, and attack. This also forces a removal spell on the Glidemaster right away. Or a Rousing Reed on the Protege. It means Protege can't attack, which is nice. But the Rousing Reed's always good. Fetid Imp. Protege may attack now, but maybe not because the Imp can't block the dog. Yeah. Okay. That Stonewalls is pretty good. You play a Makeshift Battalion. No attacks. Can't really do much here. If we get another mana, Glidemaster can put 2 creatures into the air. Well, never mind now, because we're going to get archered down. I'd be stunned if it was not King Glidemaster. That's by far the biggest threat. They're tanking on it. I think it's Glidemaster full stop, but maybe opponents see something differently than I do. Wow, yeah, they go for a Daybreak Charger. That's interesting. I don't think they've quite turned the corner yet. It's getting close, though. We need a better draw than a Mistral Singer. I will say that much. No attacks here. So we make the Battalion a 4. They get a block with the Fetid Imp on that. 3/3 eats 2/2. 3/4 eats 3/1. 3/4 eats 2/1. So we can't attack there. The blocks are just too good for the opponent. Looks like they may have another removal spell here. They hovered the Singer. Feat of Resistance would be a good draw. Kraken's a nice one from them. Plains is really bad. I mean, we've only seen 5 mana, so I can't say a ton. Glidemaster can pump the Battalion and the Daybreak Charger. That may have to be the order of the day. I think right now that, so 2/2 I think has to go up in the air as well. We need the pump on, or the trigger on the Battalion. Skeleton Archer somehow doesn't have reach, even though he's an archer. He has his little bow trick that he does. So opponent looks like they're ready to trade Protege for Makeshift Battalion, which makes sense. I mean, at this point, we're going to put a lot of cards into the air. They really need a card draw spell for our turn. They can start to turn the tide, though. They can deal 10 damage here if I do not block. And odds are very high that I do not block. So they can swing an easy 10 damage. And the scarier part's something like an Opt just kind of wrecking us. Or a Frantic Inventory. And meanwhile, we're going to draw infinite land. I mean, this is not a terribly surprising play here, but we're going to give the Alpine Watchdog flying, and we're going to attack. And this is the power, you know, kind of showcasing the power of the evasion. Why I think the opponent should have Skeleton Archered the Glide Master. Capture Sphere on the Watchdog. Do I want to give this flying? Then they block with the Fetid Imp. The Mistral Singer gets through. The Watchdog gets tapped. 4, 16. I think we have to. So Fetid Imp will block the Daybreak Charger for sure, because it's an easy trade they can make. Yep, they didn't have to get a Death Touch, but might as well use your mana. They have no flyers, so we have the potential for 2 flying creatures now. This is what we're hoping. We're hoping they don't draw. Okay. Whew. Man, that was not... I don't want to say, man, that was super close, but that was super close to the opponent stopping the pendulum. We had just a little bit of momentum left to keep forcing that through. Just cannot find our other stuff. Like, we need... Like, I haven't seen... Like, we saw the Rousing Reed in the hand. We've mulligan. Like, that would have been nice at any point. We had the land in hand to discard. I mean, we were ready for it, but... You can, that kind of showcases in this blue-white archetype, as opposed to the more red strategies like the red-white deck. The evasion's just so key. I think this one is the opponent's going first, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But so far we're even on going. For now we're behind on going first. But I think we're probably gonna. Okay, Temple of Triumph could indicate Boros, could indicate just any red or white deck. As we saw in the draft, I really think the temples are just fine if one of the temples, if the temple's on one color, I'll play it, because the scry is just that good. I'm gonna play Pegasus. It's not shockable. They can Scorching Dragonfire it, but that feels horrible. So I'm down to let them do that if they wish. It negates shock being a factor. Yeah, they're just straight up going for it too. They're not even playing around. So that either indicates to me that they're aggressive. I mean, it has to be that they're aggressive. Yeah, this makes sense. I don't see any other way. So I think we will go ahead and we'll Jeskai Elder here. It's a good blocker. It forces a removal spell out of their hand. It's also our weakest creature to add to the board. Tempered Veteran. So that means Siege Striker can attack, and they can use the Veteran to pump it. No blocks, so they get in 4 damage here. We'll attack with the Elder, and it's whenever it deals combat damage to a player. Okay, they have the shock as well. Alright, so we were ready for all of that by playing the Concordia Pegasus, and it explains why they went for the play they did. So I think what we want to do is we have to be careful, because, like, there's just nothing really much we can do. We can Capture Sphere. I'm just debating on if we want to do it. That gives us the turn off from the Siege Striker being a card, so I'm just going to do it now, because even if they have the feat, it still keeps it tapped. If they have the feat and we cast it at instant speed, they have the mana available, they turn the feat into a counter spell, which is way better for them. Oof, another Siege Striker. That's not great. And we're drawing, again, a little heavy on land. Heavier than I'd like on land. Put it that way. Alpine Watchdog. I think we have to run out of Daybreak Charger. We're just getting too back-footed on spells. We need something. I'm not sure what that something is. We're getting kind of buried in it. We have a Capture Sphere. I mean, I'd take a Swift Response for sure to kill the Siege Striker and get that off the table. But we have the Tempered Veteran going down the road. That's going to be a problem if the game goes long. Spellgorger Weird's kind of fine here. No attack feels nice. We'll keep the land in our hand. We're going to Rousing Reed on the Daybreak Charger. We can still cast our other Daybreak Charger, and we're just kind of hoping for gas. Okay. It's not a bad thing. Daybreak Charger. Targeting Daybreak Charger. We get in 6 this way, and we get to follow up with more on the next turn. We get to follow up with another 6. So we do kind of bring the pain for the opponent a little bit. All right, never mind. They have a swift response. They drew their swift response. Opponent very much... I don't... They may want to attack with the weird, but it seems like not the best choice unless they're holding a shock. If they're holding shock, they attack 100%. Because then the weird is just insane. So they're going to go for double tap. They are. No blocks. You got it. Yep, Defiant Strike. Okay, that puts a lot of pressure on opponent doing a very specific thing. Opponent drafted multiple Siege Strikers and is trying to use... Ooh, Unsubstantiate was quite good. We're going to pump the dog because it's the same amount of damage and the dog has Vigilance. So that's kind of obvious. I would hope that's obvious. So we're going to try to win with this Unsubstantiate. That's what we have to do. We have to play around the not losing thing. So if they swing with Siege Striker and tap everything, we're in good shape. If they swing Siege Striker and Spellgorger weird, and then use the Veteran to pump the Siege Striker, or the weird, there are options. Okay, so they have a Battlement. That's fine. What we want to try to do is we want to try to... I mean, this sounds stupid, but it's true. We want to try to live, and we want to try to live by you committing the least amount of blockers to the battlefield. Pass to attackers is fine. That resolves. So right now, we're dead to shock. We're dead to Defiant Strike. Pass to blockers. So we soak up more damage with the Siege Striker than the weird. Block. We'll see what trick they have. If it's just using the Veteran, pass to first strike damage is fine. Can't pass to damage, unfortunately. We kind of have to. So what we can do is we can pop the Veteran back to their hand and attack them for 6, which is uncontested. We take 5 in that exchange. We do die to a shock that way. So I think we just pop the Spellgorger weird back to their hand. We got to figure out something to deal with the Siege Striker down the road, though. They can't recast that. Feat of Resistance is nice. So we're just going to not attack and look like we're kind of fucked. And hope that the Feat was a very good draw. It was one of the best draws we had. See, Gale Swooper. Yup. So that kills us, I do believe, because they have 3 creatures to make it 4 power. Man, that was like the perfect draw for them. Or the perfect card if they were waiting on the land. It looked like they were waiting on the land, so yeah. Yeah, you got it. Yeesh. Just can't seem to get the right mix. We have so much. Like, the frustrating part of this is we have so much card draw. And we just aren't seeing it. I'm going to go back into the deck and make sure that I'm just not insane. But this deck has 2 Rousing Read. We've seen 1 so far in all of our matches outside of a mulligan. We have... What else do we have that draws cards? A Library Larcenist. Maybe we need to drop this Riddle form. We don't seem to be aggressive enough to be taking advantage of it. I think I'd rather just have a creature that does something. So let's go with the Pegasus. Maybe we go with the Sky Scanner to help us draw out of things, but that doesn't seem... I mean, I guess it's better than the Pegasus. We're not all that aggressive. I mean, the Chargers have looked good when we're ahead. But the problem is we just can't seem to put ourselves into a position where we're ahead enough to make a difference. Maybe instead of Sky Scanner, we play a Celestial Enforcer. Now it feels like if we went Flyers, maybe we like drop something kind of a weak anemic 2-drop and go for something more along the lines of the Enforcer, but I just don't see it. Okay, give it another shot. I don't think this deck's great, but I don't think it's a one-win deck. But everybody who drafts a one-win deck doesn't think it's a one-win deck. We have had a couple mulligans. We have had a lot of on the draw so far. Definitely in the majority for on the draw at this point. Coochie Butt. You're allowed to pick your own name in this particular program. So, opponent goes for, of course they do. 2 4-drops in this hand feels pretty bad. I think 2 into 3 with a removal spell is 4 is enough, or a pump spell for both our creatures. We'll see. We drew the land we wanted. We'll take no more land now, please. Please and thank you. Okay. I think we just play the Elder. It's all shockable. Not that they're currently playing red, but... Question is, do we run this into a random feeder resistance? I think the answer, based on the fact we want to go 1-drop, 2-drop, or 2-drop, 3-drop Basri's Acolyte's a no, so I'll just go no blocks here. I'll take my lumps. Okay, they're on like mono 3/1s, which is fine. That's an archetype I support. Play the Library Larcenist. We could attack and see if they want to trade their Silver Smoke Ghoul. It's cool with me. Now at this point, I'd probably consider the Larcenist and then go down the line of hoping to draw a 2. Yeah, sure, I'll block. Okay, opponent, Griffin Airy. Okay, so they're a life gain deck, maybe just with an aggressive start. So, that ends up being that their hand is quite good. It's going to be very hard for us to handle. We're going to play Selfless Savior into Alpine Watchdog. And then hopefully this sets up a nice Basri's Acolyte for us. Not nice. A Basri's Acolyte that gets full value. Not attacking with the Silver Smoke Ghoul. We take 2. And they follow up with a Blood Glutton. It's going to have to eat a Capture Sphere because it's just too good with the Griffin Airy. We're just going to do it now. Again, we don't want Feet of Resistance to be a counter spell. We want it to be, if worst case, it's a removal spell for our enchantment, which looks a lot better than a straight up counter spell. Yeah, you got 2. Our turn. Okay. Skyscanner's a decent draw. It's not necessarily a very good draw. I think I'll draw with it and see if I can get a replacement to see if I can get a little bit more value off the Basri's Acolyte. If I put the Acolyte down, the Skyscanner at least now is... Ooh, that's good. I was going to say the Skyscanner can at least trade with a Griffin, which isn't great, but I got some value out of my Skyscanner. So we're trading part of a card for part of a card, which I can live with. I don't love that, but I can live with it. I don't think that I necessarily want to attack. No. The problem is I do suspect that we're the beatdown in this matchup, but I don't necessarily want to attack. If they attack with the Griffin, I probably take it. They're also attacking with the... I'll run a block on the Silver Smoke Ghoul. I'll run a block on the Pegasus and see what they do. Because I do have the Selfless Savior. Sure. Sure. I think that does anything based on where we're at in the match, but... It says flying and lifelink. Island was a bad draw. We've also overdrawn on lands pretty badly, considering we're 16 land. So unfortunate, well, luckily everything kind of triggers if you gain 3 or more life this turn. So everything triggers on 3 life. This has lifelink, so unless they can pump it, we're okay for the minute. And I say for the minute, and I mean it. I mean, they can gain 1 life. That's fine. The increment of 1 doesn't really do much other than just it's free life gain. But we get a crack back with the Pegasus if we want it. I doubt it. But this, actually, King Glidemaster was a pretty good draw. I mean, this is how we're attacking. 2-3 in the air, 3-3 on the ground. Stops them from untapping the Blood Glutton or doing anything funky like that. I don't think there's an untap trick. Most of their force is flying, so the Glide Master's not at its best. But we do still have the Savior down the line to kind of just... A removal spell is going to target the Selfless Savior at some point. We'll put it that way. Feat of Resistance targeting the Griffin. That's kind of fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather trade for the removal spell down the line than the Bashery's Acolyte, which kind of did its work. 3/3 flyer is no different than a 2/2 flyer for the Concordia Pegasus. Okay, so that explains it. That likely was in their hand. So 4/4 flyer, a lot more of a problem. So we'll take the 4. So we don't have much of a choice. Again, life gain an increment of 2 isn't bad. And that's when the Bashery's Acolyte also gets to be involved in attacking. That's the problem. Singer's decent. Mana to also activate the Glide Master is still decent. So it just means we can attack, but it's just with the Watchdog. So one thing we can do is we can block Bashery's Acolyte with the Selfless Savior and sacrifice it, so they don't gain the life off the Bashery's Acolyte. So before we go to blockers, let's get something in the air. Watchdog. Alright, let's get blocks on. Block. So they're going to sacrifice their Selfless Savior, I wager, to save their whatever it's called, the Patrician. And then we just sack our Selfless Savior. It means that we're opened up to finishing blow. Okay. They elected to save the Acolyte for some reason. Feat of Resistance is a good draw. So they have 4/4 flyer and 2/3 on the ground, 2 mana up. I think we just come in with these two. So we're not going to block with a Glide Master, and we have 3 blockers available for us. I'm going to play a land and just kind of make it look like that I just drew a land. Or at least try to feign that concept. And again, I think we do the same trick with Watchdog plus Pegasus, this time blocking the 4/4, and we'll try to catch him that way. Mistral gets to block the Bashery's Acolyte, and I'm hoping that the Feat of Resistance protects something and is able to give a prowess trigger. Secure the scene, targeting. Yep. We get a 1/1 creature. Fine. You get attacks. Immediate no attacks. That's interesting. Okay. 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 What do? Not much we can do with the 4/4 out, so I'm just going to play a land and do the same thing I did and just make it look like I'm sandbagging infinite lands. Again, I will gripe a little bit about drawing half of our land in less than half of our deck. Opponent on 5 land, or 6 land, by the way. Just want to put that out there. Okay. It was a lot of attacks, then it turned into a Blood Glutton attack. Blood Glutton right now, checked by the Watchdog. Now it's everything attacking. Pass to blockers. So we go Watchdog blocking Blood Glutton. We go... Bashery's Acolyte's going to get checked by the Mistral Singer. And... I think we should have probably just thrown the token in the air. But we'll not block on that. If they have a pump spell, it's fine. Immediately went to pass the damage. So I'm going to feat this. Give it protection from black. Black. So we go to 1, but they gain no life. They gain 2 life, but not enough to trigger the Griffin Airy yet. And we retain our board. And our board's in better shape than it was. Okay. I think that's how we need to attack. We can throw the soldier in the air. Just need to not misclick. I mean, it's a questionable one because if they don't attack with the Griffin, they get to hold back my team. Okay. Makeshift battalion. 3 mana up. I think they're long for drawing land. But I don't necessarily just want to run my Watchdog into a feat of resistance. So I'm just going to play the Makeshift Battalion. And we'll wait to attack. We have a lot of mana. We can get a lot of cards into the air. Okay. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 15. 15 minus that is 11. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're lethal here. Okay, very good. We didn't have to show them the unsubstantiate. Okay, managed to turn that one around. Keep charging forward. Like I said, I'm hoping for 4 wins. I mean, I'd take more. I'm not fussy. But I think we're a little light on interaction. Have not seen our swift response yet. Feat of Resistance has looked great every time we've played it. I'm pretty happy for the most part with the build. I'd like to see a little bit more power in it. But overall, it's not too bad. We go first. We go Selfless Savior into nothing into Skyscanner. I'm going to keep it on the back of the feet into specifically the Siege Striker. Hopefully able to take over a game. And we have 2 ways to protect it down the line. So, I mean, we have a lot of 2-drops. Like, Charger here would look fantastic. Alright, Charger here looks a little less good. Swift Response. I was talking about it, we got it. So, this is a very defensive deck. It appears we're up against. So, we'll see how it goes. Against this, I feel like I just want a Skyscanner and try to build up. I'd like to Siege Striker. I mean, we eat the first removal spell with the Savior. But I'd like to save the double up, especially against the spells deck. They have a lot of things they can do. It's interesting that they're just immediate past the turn, not even check us with the Cur. I'm just going to play a Watchdog here. Feels like they're probably want a counterspell or something? I'm not sure, but I have a Skyscanner that can just attack in the air. I don't really care. Tome Anima's fine. It's a weird deck. Okay. Unsubstantiate feels pretty good. We're going to play Siege Striker here. We'll hold up Feet plus Unsubstantiate plus Selfless Savior Sacrifice. We have a Swift Response. Everything, we can cast something in our hand. Ghost Light is fine. Let's see what they target. We're going to Feat of Resistance this. Or do I care? Sure. I don't think that does much. Like, I don't think that means anything changes to me. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay. Let's play... We can Daybreak, pump the Skyscanner, and attack. Let's do that. So I don't think much is changing here. If they want to block with the Ghostlight, I'm fine with that. Well, we'll play the Striker again. They're tapped out, and we still have the Savior as a removal spell. Or as an anti-removal spell. Thrill of Possibility, pitching a Mountain. Gives the Tome Anima unblockable. Wall of Runes #2. Oh, indeed. It looks like a Teferi's Tutelage deck. Maybe it is. The fact they didn't attack with Kerr makes me believe that. Chandra's Magmut. It's like a blue-red kind of things. Right now, kind of the only thing that matters is the Tome Anima and the Ghostlight. I think they attack with the Ghostlight, though. They do not. Really? That's interesting. Why not attack with the Ghostlight there? That's what I believe it's a Teferi's Tutelage deck. Like, something like that. We just got to figure out how we beat a Teferi's Tutelage deck. Four double strike means that we're going to start chewing through Wall of Runes pretty good. I'm just going to take the opportunity now to take out this 3/3. And that's it. I'm not super scared of damage. I really think this is a Teferi's Tutelage deck. Baron. Enters the battlefield. Return up to one other target creature or player. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand, draw a card. Let's just put Baron back and not give them the benefit of that ETB effect. Seed Striker just has double strike? Okay. We know what their card is. Two attacks. The reason I'm tapping a little bit more than maybe I should is because I do want them to block the seed. Like, I want this card to eat a creature card. Like, I 100% don't want them to just elect to take the damage. So just like 2, it's like, alright, I'll take a hit for 4, fine. Okay, opponent. Oh, please do all of that. Okay, they went for just that. Yep. End the turn. They missed their ping with the Magmut. More reasons I think this is a Teferi's Tutelage deck. Sure. Yep. Sure. I'm kind of fine with this still, I think. I don't think I care. Yep. I don't know what opponent is slow rolling exactly. I'm just going to recast Seed Striker while they're tapped out. I'm going to recast them, or I'm going to not recast, but cast for the first time a Makeshift Battalion. I think I just check them with this. Sure. Just keep kind of freeing their... There we go. Alright, so they've only missed the one ping. Just kind of keep freeing their board of creatures is, I think, beneficial. Reign of Revelation. This feels like a Teferi's Tutelage deck. I'm going to guess at some point We're going to see it. Magmut. Arcanist. Okay, double spell there is good. I'm going to guess they don't... Yeah, I guess they don't attack with the Ghost Light, because they haven't yet. There is an incentive to want to attack with 3 creatures to trigger the Makeshift Battalion, and I think we do. We have a creature we can use to block with, so I'm not too afraid of tapping. Opponent has shown they're not aggressive at all, because they've had some opportunities to attack at times that seemed pretty good, and haven't elected to take that. So I think now we do use our Feat of Resistance, and I think we use it on the Makeshift Battalion. They're pinging us now for some reason, but yeah, you got it. Don't forget, better to ping now, and it just looked weird. So we got their board down to 2 Chandra's Magmuts, and now an Igneous Cur, and a Mistral Singer. Okay, opponents reflooded the board that we thought was otherwise empty. Okay, Glide Master's quite good. Okay, and they scoop to the now flying Seed Striker. Alright. Back up to tier 1. Let's keep running wins. Okay. Georgie Huang. I go first. On a hand that looks not keepable, sadly. No 2-drops whatsoever. This hand looks a lot better. I think we're going to put back a land, because I think we just want a high density of spells here. Okay. Just going to run out of charger here. Okay. Next turn we'll probably Battalion. Okay, opponent makes up the damage. Plays a Watchdog. Sure. Watchdog was going down either way. Could have been better just to attack there with the other one and just let them eat the... You know, if they want the charger, they get the charger. Actually, probably should have done that, so I could have attacked with the Battalion. So, that was a punt. You can increment the punt counter if you'd like. Okay, that's not a bad one. I think we just play... Well, I'm willing to attack here. Sounds good. We'll play a Keen Glide Master. And then we can charger and attack or fly plus attack. Okay, opponent's hand is weird. Like, they didn't have, clearly did not have that. Just attack with Glide Master. It's pretty good. We have another backup one. I don't think they want this trade. And then we'll just be mana efficient and play the Singer. Opponent looks stuck, but like, I guess they drew the Watchdog instead of the land there. Okay, so they're 2 colors. So they're green-white counters. Yep, we're seeing that here. Okay, no problem. No blocks, you got it. Okay, now the question is, do we capture Sphere? The Watchdog. Attack with everything. All opponent gets to trade for is the Keen Glide Master. I think that's going to be the way. It just deals with a problem. Once the deck starts to put its counters down, it wants to put its counters all in one place, and I think our best line here is to get aggressive. Keep the board clear of creatures. Yeah, you can see how much they want to hang on, even just that Pride Malkin. They need a base to start putting counters on. So, and there's no single white trick that wouldn't just trade. You could Define Strike to draw a card. And that's about it. So it's going to be tough. It's a tough road for the opponent to hoe. We have a Gale Swooper. I think we just Charger. Maybe we Larcenist here and do not attack. Maybe we just attack with Mistral Singer to make them think we have a double trick. No, I don't think we do. I think I'm just going to play the Larcenist. Sorry, opponent. That was not me trying to be like douchey or anything. I just legitimately couldn't decide. Because what I'm thinking is the Charger pumping the Larcenist. Larcenist attack, Battalion attack, Singer attack. It makes the... Oof, that's good. And you can kind of see what I mean. They need a route for the counters to go somewhere. Basher's Acolyte. I hear that card's pretty good. Okay, so we want to put the counter, for sure a counter on Mistral Singer, because now that can trade with the Gale Swooper. I think we also want the counter on the Library Larcenist. I think we swing like this. I don't love this, but I don't hate this. Yup. Yup. So they take effectively 1 damage, and we clear their best creature, which they've invested in a fair bit. Okay, so they fully negate damage step here. They need a good play, though. And it needs... flying is a real thing. We have a 3/3 flyer right now they have to deal with, and green-white strong suit... I mean, white has a sub-theme of flying, but green strong suit definitely is not flying. And it's got a couple good reach cards. So it's a fairly balanced set. The Swift Response does not look like it's going to be stellar here. We also can just swing with Basher's Acolyte. Concordia Pegasus, 2 mana up. Basher's Solidarity. Okay, so now they can swing with Basher's Acolyte. That lets us just kill it. Okay, they elect not to do so. I'm going to play Daybreak Charger, targeting Mistral Singer. Or Library Larcenist. Do I want the Larcenist? And then attacks as a 4 and they have to block. But then they get an easy block. Yeah, I think it's just got to target the Mistral Singer. And if they want to take 2, or take 5, which they elect to do, that's dicey. If I'd played a Defiant Strike, I would have won the game on the spot. Dicey, dicey. Colossal Dreadmaw. I'm guessing. I don't know if we have a good draw that's a single card. Like, here's where Frost Breath would be great, right? Like, Frost Breath looks so good when you're ahead on tempo. But not really in the tank, so I don't think they have a great card either. We've drawn very well. I will say this game has been some of our best draws. We have drawn very late on land. We've drawn heavy on action. We've even drawn a reasonable amount of interaction. Okay, Pride Malkin. What do you target? The Pegasus, I wager, right? Yeah, because you need that big flyer. Daybreak Charger. Thinking. I think it's Charger, Singer. Do we then offer the flyer as a trade? Maybe it's Charger. No, because the Charger gets checked by... Yeah, there's just not enough going on there. So I think it's Charger, Singer, attack. Or is it Charger on Larcenist attack? Yeah, I think it's Charger on Larcenist attack. It gives them a padding of their life total because they can block with Basri's Acolyte, but it's a trade. Yeah, you can see they're in the tank on this one. They get a free block with the Pegasus if they want it. Sure. I think we let that happen. The Larcenist did its work. It drew us 2 cards, and it had a card and a half. It represented a card and a half. What's gonna happen? The 4 life here is tough, but having an unsubstantiate... Yeah, you got attackers. I'm kind of surprised that the Thrashing Brontodon hasn't done anything yet. That is genuinely a little surprising to me. Man, I don't want to not attack here, but I don't think I can attack here. I think I have to let them think they're ahead for a turn. Okay. So we'll wait to unsubstantiate because that's an extra point of damage. So if I unsubstantiate Basri's Acolyte, they have 2 blockers for a 4/4, and yeah, I think that's the best way, is to unsubstantiate the Basri's Acolyte. They don't get the advantage of good blocks here. It's they have to block a 3 and they have to block a 4. You have to block a 4 and you have to block a 3. And you die. That's the way of it. Yep. Okay. Whew. Goodness. Alright, good. We held on to that unsubstantiate, I think, about as long as we could have. So, we got the max value out of it. Towards the game-winning spell. You can see the tempo, the head on tempo. Even Frost Breath there would have been even better. This is why I'm sad I didn't pick one up. But the one we saw that was clean to take. If I'm mistaken, let me know again in the comments. And thanks for sticking around with me for this longer one. Opponent goes first. We have 1-drop, 2-drop, 2-drop. Hey, Containment Priest, you're in the deck. 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop. I just don't think we can pass this. We lose by getting flooded. It's far less likely we lose by getting screwed because our spells are so cheap. I say that in draw 4-drop. Which is pretty good. But I don't mind the Acolyte down the way. Sniper looks pretty good. No blocks. You got it. You got me with your blue-green deck. If you want to race, I'm into it. I'm going to play this. If I run into a Lofty, I run into a Lofty. It's fine. It's interesting that they fancy themselves the beatdown. It's still kind of too early to tell. Now I don't think they're the beatdown. So yeah, you're welcome to that. This makes me believe they have a good follow-up. Troll Snow is certainly a good enough follow-up. Oh, they gained a life. Interesting. Didn't expect that. Okay, so let's not do what we did last time and simply offer the Daybreak Charger as a trade. They elect to not take it and think that they're ahead enough in the race to handle this. Sure, you got it. What we're going to end up doing is Containment Priest, Flash, and try to block. Though I may not even care. Because Containment Priest into another 2-drop, especially the Daybreak Charger, I kind of just don't give a shit. Frost Breath? Yeah, you got him. Okay, well this becomes more trivial now. Interesting that they're so aggressive. A blue-green tempo deck. That's interesting. I think we're gonna play Library Larcenist. And kind of this means that they can attack with the Trouble Snout, but they want to probably hold it back. Roaming Ghostlight. You may bounce whatever you wish. Yeah, that's fine. You got it. Okay, they have elected to no longer be the beatdown. You got it. I'll trade you. Zero problems there. Just recast our Library Larcenist. Lets us double spell potentially very easily when we get one more mana. It lets us Bash Race Acolyte if we wish. Rousing Reed on their Ghostlight. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, Pass to Attackers is good. Okay. I like land. I don't necessarily think I want to swing with the Larcenist here. It just gets checked. If there was a situation where we could, like... It's just hard to say. I think the attack here is correct. With just the Charger. Very good. Alright, so let's play a Concordia Pegasus. Maybe they're holding a Cancel? And a Keen Glide Master. Okay. This puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. 1/4/3 can kill something, and it eats it. Green Sanctum. So they're the Sanctum deck? But we're just like with a really aggressive tempo start? And again, they're holding up Cancel mana. Let's Charger and see what they do. Okay, fantastic. This, I think, incentivizes blocks. Yeah, you got it. I'm totally fine with this. This looks pretty good. I'm anxious to see if they add a non-blue-green color. Yep, okay. They added white and scoop. You got it. I guess they drew poorly there. Yeah, we were kind of building up a pretty insurmountable board state there. Okay, got to 5 wins. Better than I hoped the deck would do. Done on the back of a lot of winning after 2 losses. If you're sticking with me, thanks for sticking with me. 2 very fast losses. I appreciate it. We're trying. Trying to get through this. Hopefully you learned something. Not just that I'm terrible at Magic. Something useful for yourself down the road. Oh my god, Sandsburst. Alright, well, we tried. We tried. We got 5 wins. And now we're mulliganing. Oh my god. I think we have to keep this 5. And try to draw out of this mess. I think... Oop, 2 Rousing Reed is a little excessive. But man, we need an island. First draw needs to be an island. Post haste. Nope. I think we lose this one, everybody. That sucks. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Well, I mean, we're going to play it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just going to scoop. But this is going to be a hard game to win. Yep. Forcer's fine. I think we just Rousing Reed here. We open ourselves up to a lot, but I just need the cards. Okay. Whoops. That was not intentional. I'm sorry. I was trying to move it around to look at the mana costs and try to plan out my next turn. I probably would have gotten rid of the Mistral Singer. Yep. Anticipated something being able to do that. We'll see. If we draw a 2-drop, we're in okay shape. Okay. I can deal. Not worth killing the creature. We need to save this for the best thing we can afford to do it on. If possible. Crab is annoying, but not horrible. Can't really attack with Enforcer here unless they're happy just trading with a Glide Master, which I don't really see being the case. Alright, Capture Sphere is decent. I think we just add to our board. This board's pretty anemic, like nothing really spectacular is going on. Dowser? That's exactly. Yep, good card, good card. They're floating around in their graveyard, which is why I said Dowser there. You got me for 3. Thinking. We can afford to give something flying, something being probably the Jeskai Elder, and attack. Siege Striker. We need this land to play the Swift Response. I think Siege Striker's the weakest facing off on the board. Or facing the board we're facing. Crab I don't care about so much. I'll take 3 if they want to attack me with the Crab. Basri's Acolyte's the question mark. I think that skews the race a little too hard. Okay, they just blop us for 6. We have a Capture Sphere, so I'm not super worried. We can still cast that. And a Makeshift Battalion. Okay. We gotta figure out what we want to Capture Sphere, I think is the thing. Maybe they're gonna make the decision easy for us. Put like a Rousing Read on something. See if they have something. No feet. No Unsubstantiate. No Cancel. No Lofty. The Running America is free to attack. The Makeshift Battalion gets a trigger. Yep, that's a good attack. I think we double block the Celestial Enforcer here. Okay. Protege. Any creature was a good follow-up. Double spell. Double creature is a very good follow-up. Okay. That's the turn. 4 attackers, 3 blockers. The Makeshift Battalion gets a trigger, so we can't double block it. So it's just the Abyss. Interesting they're electing not to attack. Okay, I was going to say, interesting they're electing to not attack with that Protege. I have no cards in hand, so it doesn't hurt anything to give this guy flying. There's my blocks. No follow-up's fine for us. But again, they're just beating us down because we've had so little in the way of cards. Dowser's quite good. We're not attacking for the rest of this game, so... Get him. That's it. That's all we can do. Sucks we had to mull to 5 there at the last one, but it is what it is. That's Magic, unfortunately. That's why we play it, right? The infinite frustration that is Magic the Gathering. So that's another video for you. Hopefully you learned a little bit about kind of navigating the blue-white tempo side of things. It's a weird one, but it can be pretty good. I think that deck with a Frost Breath or two would have been pretty nice. I think if we weren't hemming and hawing over trying to build the Teferi's Tutelage deck, it would have been a little better, but I like to keep myself open because I wasn't sure where that archetype was going. But there's a lot of options. So if you can get Rousing Reeds early, it kind of puts you in the best of both worlds. So I think if you're going to try to toe the line like I did, I think those are really stand out. The Library Larcenist is okay. It ended up being pretty good for us with the Basri's Acolyte and things like that. I think that helps. Feeder Resistance was solid for us. I think if you're going to toe that line, though, you can kind of see what worked well and what didn't for us in terms of what was strong, what was weak, and how the cards that kind of lined up for both decks and kind of towed that line were few and far between. So I think you kind of really want to cement yourself. But with the first turn Black Sanctum pick, I think that kind of cemented, I want to try to go in the way of a slower deck and try to get more Sanctums, but we only saw one other red one. So it wasn't like we were passing on Sanctums very late or anything like that. So we just couldn't quite cobble it together. And I wish we would have. The Black Sanctum is nuts. That card's very good, and we could have just gotten all the wall of runes we could handle to hide behind that, and then use Teferi's Tutelage as well. And then if we had a blue Sanctum, I think it would have tied the room together really nicely. But we didn't get to go down that road. It happens. So if you're unfamiliar, we do videos every Thursday here on YouTube. Every Sunday is our live stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/superliminalfilms. So check us out there on Sundays. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So I won't bore you with more YouTube stuff. If you feel like it was good, subscribe. You know the drill. And until next time, cast more spells.